Animal Man number 8, written by Jeff Lemire, art by Travel Foreman and Steve Pugh. We left off last issue with the family being surrounded in their trailer with rot-infested woodland critters. And this issue basically picks up with Animal Man going, okay, how are we going to do this? And Maxine steps up and basically says, I can do it. Let me just get in there. I can handle this. And immediately everyone is like, no, that's a stupid idea. Except for Buddy, who's like, I mean, she's really powerful. Maybe she could do it. And Socks the cat is like, seriously? But like, don't. Your job is to protect her. You need to be the one that goes out there and does that. But before they can decide anything, Maxine wriggles away from her mom, jumps out the door, and says that she can talk to the animals. And she does give them pause for a second, but then they immediately turn and start mauling Maxine to death. And her parents, rightfully, are freaking out. Buddy jumps in and just starts tearing the animals apart limb from limb. And when they're all finally pretty much decapitated, he takes Maxine's body, and it's messed up. She's definitely not there anymore. However, there's a voice coming from the woods, and out steps this horrifying, like, half fox, half human creature with Maxine's voice saying, hey, Daddy, don't cry. I'm not in that body anymore. And then the body continues to morph to just look like normal Maxine again. And she explains how as soon as they jumped at her, she just left her body, went into the red, floated around for a few seconds, and then took the body of a nearby fox who was unaffected by the rot, and then just turned it into herself. Meanwhile, her grandmother is draping a blanket over her old body and is just like, this isn't right. This is just wrong. So Maxine's happy about it, and she's like, oh yeah, no, it was fun, and it felt kind of good. And then she looks over at her old body, and she's like, oh, well, we don't need this anymore. I need to return it to the red. And she just has it wither into dust. And while her grandma is, again, freaking the hell out, Sock steps up and is like, oh, wow, nobody has ever learned to evolve that quickly. Like, you are miles ahead of any other protector of the red. So then Cliff gets a message on his phone and saying how a local town is being overrun by the rot, and they need to figure out what they're going to do about that. Are they running away from it? Are they going to deal with it? What's going on? And Buddy comes to the conclusion that they're all going to be coming after Maxine. She is the end goal here. So what they need to do is get away from there as fast as possible. But Buddy's going to stay behind, and he's going to stop them for as long as he can. And it's basically a suicide mission. And Ellen is very upset about this because, she doesn't want this. She doesn't want this life, but there's no choice anymore. The grandmother steps up and basically tells him how much of a dick he is for pulling all of them into it. And he's like, yeah, you're right. And I'm sorry that all of you have been in this, but I'm going to make it right now. And he says goodbye to his family. And Maxine says to be careful. He's like, be careful. Psh, I'm a superhero, baby. And he flies away. Everyone's afraid. And he wonders whether or not things will ever get back to normal with him and his family. But regardless, right now he has to focus on the fight. He arrives, the military's all there. They're cordoning off the town. And just death and destruction are rampant throughout. He lands down. He tells the troops to retreat. And he's like, everyone get back. I got this. And as soon as he lands, the rot starts talking. It's the hunters talking through him. And he's like, oh, hey, it's you. The girl will be ours, blah, blah, blah. And it's just taunting him through the voices of all these critters. And eventually he just gets sick of it and kicks one of their heads off, which triggers the rest of them to start coming after him and mauling him. He channels the flight of a sparrow to get up above the crowd. And he's like, all right, if I just stay up here, none of them can get me. I should be safe. And then, as if on cue, a whole bunch of rot-infected birds start swarming after him. They knock him out of the sky. And he falls back into the crowd of animals who, again, just start mauling him. And after a little bit of gnashing and gnawing, they all start to dissipate, leaving Buddy's body there. And we see his eyes opened up, totally blackened, and now he has the voice of a hunter. So the body of Animal Man has been now possessed by the rot. That's where we're leaving it. I like this. I think it's a good continuation. I'm curious where the focus is going to lie. Are we going to keep on splitting back between what Buddy's doing and what Maxine's group is doing? If so, I mean, I trust this book. I trust this book implicitly to handle whatever it is it wants to do with its story. It's telling it masterfully. I like. I kind of wish that they would have gone a little bit more grotesque in showing what actually happened with Maxine. Not the mauling part, but the body transformation part, because you only get one panel of it really, and it's like kind of dark and from behind. I really would have liked to see, just because it's done great things with those sort of grotesque changes of body horror. I really would have loved to see their take on that, but instead it was from behind and dark in one panel. Okay. But no, writing's great. Art is fantastic. Really does a good job at selling all this. This one is more basic in terms of like panel layout, but it also doesn't have that much influence with like the red. So I don't think it was really necessary. The times that they are interacting with the red, the panels do get a bit crazier. So yeah, no, it's a pretty just basic issue just to show off a few more powers and then set up where Buddy's going to be headed next. So yeah, I am interested to see how it continues on with the Rot Saga.